Hello and welcome to the Reservoir Red Dogs podcast. Don't forget you can tweet us at RRD1865 and you can email us rrd1865@outlook.com. This is one of the best episodes we've ever recorded. I should say at the start, I'm Matt Ford. I'm joined by Paul McGregor. Hello, Paul.
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yes, I'm very good. This is the second one we recorded in lockdown. Are you still well?
Do you know what? I'm all right. I've had a few wobbles, and it's not like me. I normally get through stuff. I'm normally really solid, but I've just had a couple of been picking at the family and all that kind of stuff, and needed to take myself up to the bedroom and put an album on or something, just get out of it. I've had a couple of. It's quite unusual, so I'm finding it quite bizarre, to be honest. I'm up and down with it,
mate. I think so many people are going through that same thing. This is just so. I mean, obviously, for some people, it's horrific. For people who've contracted the virus and people who've lost loved ones, and for everyone else, it's putting a new strain on everything. It's an unusual way to live. So, I don't think that's odd at all. Like people are really going through it. But I just hope you're okay. We all hope you're okay.
I'm good, mate. I'm good. It's just, you it's what it is, isn't it? You just gotta live with the people you gotta live with.
Yeah. Well, this is part of the reason we're doing this, obviously, is to give people some entertainment and to cheer them up during this time, because we know it's very difficult for people. And I mean, I've always been a fan of Des Lyttle. I knew he would be amazing. I had no idea he was going to be this fantastic.
Well, we've tried to get him for a while now, haven't we? And just circumstance hasn't really worked out for us. But he's such a top fella, mate. And what a great player, I have to say. Didn't get mentioned much during the podcast, but he was a phenomenal defender, such a low centre of gravity. And we speak in the podcast about him man-marking Zola and Juninho, amongst others. And you wouldn't want anybody else on that job. He would not let you go. He was a fantastic hustler of the ball.
He is. I mean, he is so funny. He's got so many great stories. And what strikes you immediately is he's just such, and he doesn't even have to say this about himself. It's just obvious. Such an optimistic, positive guy.
Yeah, and again, getting older, I mean, this whole podcast thing's been, looking back in retrospect, been really eye-opening for me personally. But and it's really made me appreciate those times, because it was only yourself and Johnny. I wouldn't be doing anything like this. I wouldn't be looking back, as Desi mentions. I'm not one of the sort of people that looks back and sort of harks on about anything, but apart from the Leon goal. But but just to hear Des say, who's done a lot more in the game than I have, just to say, just to echo my feelings, really, just to have been there, just to have been around it, just to have been with those players on the training ground and shared moments with them on the pitch, is the be-all and end-all. And when you look back at it now, it feels so special and a complete privilege.
Oh, man. Well, we will keep you dangling no longer. Enjoy the amazing Des Lyttle.
Yes.
We're delighted to be joined by Forest legend Des Lyttle, who played for the Reds between 1993 and 1999. 6 years where basically everything happened, Des. What an incredible roller coaster that time was.
Yeah, it was, fantastic time. I can remember it vividly now. Remember it like it was yesterday. For the day I signed to the day I left, kind of thing. Signing was, one of the best days of my life, really. Coming from little Swansea, to come into a massive club like Forest was an absolute pleasure, and to have been and played, and to have been around some of the players that I've played with, in those years was a massive pleasure.
I'll ask you about your first impressions of the club in a bit, but what were your first impressions of Paul McGregor?
By the way, I am here. I am here. Thank you for the introduction, mate.
I know you are, Mac. You want the real answer?
Yeah.
Nah, Mac was saying, mate. Nah. Listen, I remember signing and things, and Macca was with a bunch of the younger lads with Stevie Guinan. Is that right, Macca? And that Spuggy,
That's
Stevie
right,
Guinan, and that, is that right? So
yeah,
there's a few. There's a few. Yes, right. There's a few lively lads. It was just a bunch of lively lads. Let's just leave it at
that. Were they the sort of naughty kids then? Was Macca in with the wrong crowd?
Naughty ain't the word, mate. Jeez. Mackie, you definitely wouldn't be able to survive in today's football world, mate. He got no discipline. No discipline, mate. It was shocking, he was. He was shocking. No, not really. I'm only kidding.
I'm going like that.
I'm only kidding, bud. I'm only kidding.
Oh, man. I mean, you were brought in. Forest had just been relegated when you signed for us in the summer of 1993. You get signed by Frank Clark. And what was he like, Clarky?
Obviously, he was obviously done really well for the club. So I was due to sign for West Brom because I was playing for Swansea, and obviously that end of '92 season, and we lost to West Brom in the playoffs. Swansea did and obviously I'm a Wolverhampton boy playing against West Brom, so it's kind of got some pelters there from West Brom fans. But I was due to sign for West Brom. Apparently, that's how the story goes. But I went back to Swansea the following pre-season. Under Frank Burrows, this was, and I had a knock after 2 or 3 days of pre-season and said that Forest wanted me to go on and have a chat, so. But the reason is that I played for Swansea against obviously Frank Clark's Southend side 4 times that season, the previous season. I think we played obviously a couple of times in the league. In the old 4th division, a couple of times, once in the FA Cup and once in some League Cup, I think. And I was marking a player called Ricky Otto. I don't know if you can remember him, Ricky.
I remember Ricky Otto.
Yeah, Ricky Otto, winger, dreadlocks, Ricky, great lad, Ricky. And I played quite well about him, and he was kind of building a good name for himself that season. I played quite well against him those 4 games. And obviously Frank Clark was the manager, obviously at Southend that time. Hence, I had the job a few months later when obviously Cloughie had kind of retired, and I think Frank knew me from obviously, like I say, playing 4 games against Ricky Otto that previous season. So I think that boded well for me, obviously signing for Forest really, and like I say, it was great times at the time when I signed.
And you come to a club that has just been relegated, but there's some big personalities there. Stuart Pearce, Mark Crosley, Colin Moore had just signed. Who were the first people? I mean, I suppose it's like the first day at any new job. Who were the people that you first started knocking about with?
Mate, it's not the first day of any new job, mate, when you're sitting next to people like Pearce and that, pal. I remember going, and it happened so quickly. Like I say, I remember going back to pre-season Swansea, 2 or 3 days doing a bit of pre-season. Frank Burrows had called me, and I thought he was to offer me a new contract or to sell me to West Brom. And he said, you need to get yourself down to Forest. We're selling you. The next day, I'm down at Forest. 2 days later, I'm sitting next to people like Stuart Pearce and Mark Crosley, Ian Warren, Stan Collymore had signed, Colin Cooper had signed, and I'm sitting next to him on the plane. And it happened that quickly. So I hadn't trained or nothing. It was a matter of fact. One day I'm down there signing. The next day I'm sitting on the plane. And seriously, my feet didn't have time to touch the ground. I just, those first 2 or 3 days, I couldn't believe what was happening. And to be, obviously, at the time, obviously, Pearcey was still England captain, wasn't he? Absolute legend. Mark Crosley, just people you've watched on TV, you know what I mean? The previous season, just names that are household names, and all of a sudden you're next to them, and it was, an unbelievable time. It was unbelievable time.
Like that amazing back 4 of Stuart Pearce, Des Lyttle, Steve Chettle, and Colin Cooper. It's just one of the best defences in the league. Did you do defensive training together? Did you become I don't know, people have striking partnerships. I suppose you had a defensive partnership. Were you like a little clique together?
In terms of not hanging out together, I think it's just something we worked at, really. That's where Frank came in, and obviously the coach at the time, Archie at the time, Michael O'Kane at the time, great coaches around at the time, really. Like, so it took a lot of hard work, you know what I mean? For myself personally, I've always had not so much that belief, but coming from that old 4th division, you know, signing for a massive club like Forest, and like I say, just signed people like Coops for 1.1. I think he signed Stan as well for 1 point something. You know, Norm's been there, obviously Welsh international, PC England captain. You know, my worry, not so much worry, my little bit of doubt was can I play at that level? You know, so coming from kind of 4th division straight into, obviously I know Forest had got relegated, but they were making plans to come straight back out. Could I handle that level? You know, and having to take over someone's place like Brian Laws, like who was obviously a legend at Forest, like, you know, to come in from lowly Swansea. You know, my worry is can I adapt to that level, like, and you know, I managed to. It took a little bit of time, but I managed to, and we managed to forge you know, a good back four combination and some good understanding. You know, not only was the understanding with the back four and Norm in goal, he's also with Stoney. You know, what a great player to be playing in front of. Like, you know what I mean? I could just give him the ball and he'd go forward, I'd overlap it, and vice versa. You know, out of possession. You know, it was always 10 yards away from me. I was never very isolated 1v1. So I kind of forged a great partnership with Stoney over the years, and it was really good times.
And tell you what, Desi, I remember a few times getting thrown on because I was a centre forward, obviously, but then got moved to the right wing and actually played in front of Lawsy. Lawsy pretty much taught me how to be a right winger. And he was, let me say, he was a lot softer than you were. He would talk me through a lot because I think he knew he was leaving at that time. His time was up, and he was a little bit quite relaxed with me. And I remember a couple of times coming on because obviously they were moving. I felt I was really good going forward, but tracking was not really my forte. And I can remember getting quite a few roastings off you because you were used to Stoney. And Stoney would just be up and down all day, wouldn't he?
He would, mate.
More than 10 yards. And it would probably be like having two right backs at one time and then letting him go and all that. But I can remember coming on, I think Stoney came up injured or something. I think it might have been Blackburn or something. And I came on for the last second half. And two of the goals were my fault not tracking, and you were they doubled up on you because I wasn't coming back with you, and you were screaming at me the whole day. Oh man, Frank Clark just sat me down and went, lads, we know what happened there. Macca, a bit of a learning curve.
I think I remember that game now. Yeah, I do.
I think it was at Ewood Park. I think it was.
Ewood Park, it was, mate. Is that the game we lost? We lost it heavily.
I think it was. It wasn't too heavily, but I think we were like.
Not when Chet's got sent off at one at Ewood Park, didn't he? We lost 7, didn't we, or 6?
Yeah,
1 year.
It wasn't that. I think
sure we did. Not that one.
It was quite an even game, and Stoney went off, and then I came on, and they doubled up on our side. Young lad and all that, and I think we lost 4-2. I think.
Duff. Was that Duff? Wasn't it? That Duff. That I forgot his first name. Yeah. Irish lad. Yeah. Damien Duff, that's right. Yeah, but that was just
playing in front of you, man.
I'm mellowed now, Mac. I'm not as horrible as I used to be. Mate.
You weren't horrible, mate. You were absolutely right every time. I was just a late.
So did you two like socialise together in the time that you were at Forest together? Would you go out?
Yeah, as a group, I think. Cast my mind off, just going back now a little bit, Mac. Obviously not, back in the day. What a great city. I haven't been back out for not for ages. Back in the early kind of 90s. It was the place, wasn't it? It was like, not just for Nottingham boys. A lot of the London boys have come up. All the boys from the other, obviously, other East Midland clubs, Derby, Leicester. You see a lot of those out in Nottingham. It was just absolutely a place. And obviously, at the time, some lads were young, like Macca and his crew. Some of us had kind of families. Some of us had families. Some lads didn't live in the city. So, but Saturday night in Nottingham, it was a good night out, wasn't it, Macca? And I wouldn't say we were like there was a crew of us going out, but we'd definitely go out and definitely socialise, and that helped me being successful. I thought, you know what I mean.
I agree, and it was a good crew, wasn't it, in terms of like. It wasn't a bunch of lads that, like you say, would all socialise. There were little cliques, but when everyone was together, it was really good.
Yeah.
Everyone was great with each other. There was no one really, from what I could see anyway, that didn't really get on with anyone.
No, it was great, mate. And I think stuff like that, obviously successful sides have that, don't they, off the pitch, really, that camaraderie, like, that bond. And like you said, there was nobody that wasn't outside of it. Even the lads that were older at the time and maybe married, like, they'd still come out the odd occasion. I remember when I first moved to Notts, I moved to Notts on my own. So I was like a single lad in Nottingham. So I had really nobody to answer to at the time because my missus was still down here. You know what I mean? But obviously people like Pearson, the older lads that were married and that, they'd still come out on those socials, wouldn't they? Especially at Christmas and Christmas parties, New Year's, and definitely after big wins and whenever, like. So it was a good place to kind of go out in those early 90s and 2000s.
There's a great pub and bar scene in Nottingham. We had a lot of emails off fans of yours, Des, when we announced that you're coming on.
Oh,
Steve
Jesus.
C dropped us a line. He said,
right,
ask Des about his nights in the Black Orchid.
I don't know what he's talking about.
How much can you say?
Not much. Listen, ask any player about the nights of the Black Orchid, mate. Ask Macca about his nights of the Black Orchid.
I never used to go, mate. I was Rock City.
Yeah, oh, that's true, Rock City. That was
I went a few times to the Black Orchid, but it was, even that was too much cattle market on it.
Oh, well, it was just the place. It was unbelievable. It was the place. It was a great night out. Like I say, it's a great night out where everybody, and like I say, not just the Nottingham boys, it was all the East Midland lads, people from London, footballers from London. It was a place where everybody kind of met up, didn't they, for a Saturday night? And it was obviously the main club at the time, and we had some good nights in the Black Orchid. Some good nights.
Some of your former colleagues have been in touch as well. Alan Rogers.
Oh dear.
He said, ask Des about our journey home in the car after the "we're gonna crash" fiasco.
Boys are like Billy.
Oh dear me. No. Do you know the story? No. Do you know the story about we're gonna?
We know the story about what happened on the plane. Yeah, he told us.
Praise.
Your praise. Everybody, we're gonna crash.
So then what happened in the car afterwards?
I don't know if I can say.
We can always edit it out.
Hey?
We can always edit it out. Give the cleanest version.
Exactly, yeah.
What did he say happened in the car on the way back? And
he said his words are, ask him about our journey home in the car. Des was mocking me. That's all he said.
I can't say seriously.
Is it X-rated?
I can't. X-rated. Super X-rated.
That's just going to make people more curious.
Well, you're going to have to get me back on then, or I'll speak to Tank. I'm going to see if I can actually say.
I mean, he basically told us everything, didn't he, Macca?
Yeah. I mean, like we always say, that in the pub afterwards with Tank was unbelievable.
Oh,
that was illegal, man.
He was a different level, Tank. Different level. Seriously, he was some kind of beast. He was like, no, I ain't joking. Like, listen, he's probably the worst I've ever come across footballer in terms of drinking a night out and that. The worst. Anything goes with Tank. Anything.
But
being mad as a snake and game and drunk, that's a combination and a half, isn't it? And a little bit famous as well.
Yeah, exactly that, mate. Exactly.
With some dough.
Yeah.
Zero consequences.
Hey?
Zero consequences.
No, mate. I know exactly that, pal. Exactly. I saw him a few years back. Actually, we came back and done a talk in Notts. I can't remember who it was for, 2 or 3 years ago. Like, you know what I mean? So, he's different. He's different.
He's certainly a character. So you joined in '93. Forest get promoted in that first season. I mean, did promotion feel inevitable to you when you were in the side? Or did it feel like it was touch and go?
No, obviously, listen, like I said, we had those great players, didn't we? Those great players around at the time, you know, to have Stan in your side. And I remember my season not starting off great, really. Like I said, I had to battle with Lawsy, you know, take a legends right back to place, you know. And I remember my first few games, I was in the Royal Hotel at the time while I was looking for a house. I remember going back to the hotel, and I think we lost a few games to start off with that season, and things weren't going well for me personally. You know, and I remember a few boos and that, and people saying, "Who the F is he?" and all this, like, "Who's he? We got him from Swansea," and all this, like. But we managed to turn it round. I remember we were going on some mad run of how many games we were getting beat, and you know, just going on the pitch and knowing you weren't going to get beat that season. And you know what I mean? It was a weird feeling. It was literally knowing that you weren't going to lose.
And where's the Royal Hotel? What hotel is that now? Do you know?
Is it? I don't know, Maka. Which one's a Royal? At the penthouse at the top.
The Royal's up there. It's near Rock City. It's the big one there with
Crown Plaza.
Is that the Crown Plaza now? Is it? Yeah.
So how long were you in there for?
3 months.
Guy living like Alan Partridge.
Mate, it was, mate. There's a few players in there at the time, actually. We had a penthouse suite at the top. It did a bar. That's where a lot of the players used to go as well.
Yeah. Used to meet
Yeah, exactly. We used to meet in there and that, and then toddle off into town from there. You know what I mean? Good times.
I can't believe you lived in a hotel for 3 months.
Yeah. Say again, mate.
What was that, Macca?
Sorry, I forgot we used to meet up at the penthouse. It was good in there.
Yeah. It's class. It's class in there, wasn't it, mate? Absolutely brilliant.
I wonder if they've still got that penthouse then. You should have a reunion up there.
We should do.
That'd be great.
Yeah, in 3 years' time, it'll be 20 years since the... Hang on.
Oh,
no,
Jesus.
4 years' time. Yeah, 3 years. No, 4 years. In 2024, it'll be 20 years since the 94
20
promotion.
years. 20 years. Bloody hell. Seems like
that was awful.
That
30 years.
penthouse was the room where Vic Reeves did my hair.
Wow.
Remember
when he
got my hair? It was in the penthouse at the Royal. Because that's where they were staying.
Vic Reeves?
Yeah, I did the Shooting Stars.
Say again, mate.
No Shooting Stars, the programme.
Yeah.
So they did a tour, and I was one of the guests in Nottingham. We went on the piss afterwards, and we were talking about music and that, and I said, you know, there was certain periods of Rod Stewart's haircut. It was weird because I had full blonde like Liam Gallagher, Ian Brown.
No, you don't have to tell me, son. I remember.
I know. He said, I used to cut hair. I know how to cut hair like Rod Stewart. I used to cut like hair like Rod Stewart with all the mates all the time.
Right.
I was like, go on then. And Mark Lamar was like, do not let him touch your hair. And anyway, he butchered my hair. And it was when we were going to, where did we used to go? The Isle of Wight or the Isle of Man? Which one? I was getting.
Yeah, for a few days on the lash.
Yeah.
Isle of Wight. Do you know which? Was it Jersey? Not Guernsey. No, Guernsey.
Oh, it might have been Jersey.
Jersey, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Jersey. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Jersey, wasn't it? Something like that.
Before that. So I went with a cap on, and no one knew, but he'd absolutely. Aircraft as soon as I got there.
Oh dear, mate.
I remember Skip getting picked up by the police and getting brought home.
Yeah.
In the like blue lights flashing and that.
What, Stuart Pearce?
Yeah.
What did he get picked up by the police for?
Oh, he was just walking home and they picked him up. So way up to
yeah,
they drove him back.
Oh, what? Because they recognised him.
What?
I don't know.
Probably.
Once he gets in.
He probably said, "I'm England." Pearce probably said, "I'm England captain. Can you give me a lift home?"
Well, you would, wouldn't you?
You would, mate.
The 94-95 season then, which is, I mean, our last time we finished that high, you know, it's been unsurpassed as a league finish. for Forest. I remember that as just probably the most magical season I ever saw, where we were back in the Premier League, we were capable of beating all the biggest teams, and that first home game against Man United at home, I think is, even to this day, just one of the most memorable games. Are there any games for you that really stick out, that are really vivid?
All of them. Just serious, I ain't joking. All of them. Just, you know, I said I'll probably forget a lot, but just actually being there, you know, mackerel kind of, you know, understand what I'm talking about. To actually, not just for Forest, just to actually play football. I know Macca went on and done something in pop and rock and that, and that's, you know, when people say, oh well, what do you want to do as a little kid? Well, I want to go in the army, I want to be a footballer, I want to be a pop star. Well, I managed to do one of them, and I'll say to the day now to people I talk to, just to actually have played professional football and to have played it to that level and to have played it for the clubs that I've played around for my career, mate, I'll just count myself as fortunate, you know. But going back to the games at Forest, you know, and again, that kind of 94 season, we were just going out, and we finished third, didn't we, that season? That got us into Europe the following season. Literally going out and knowing it doesn't matter if it was Arsenal, Man United, bloody whoever, knowing that you weren't going to get beat, or you can compete. You know what I mean? It's a weird feeling. It wasn't arrogance or nothing, or cockiness. It was work them hard the following season. You know, the belief was there. We're in good form, got good players around us. Listen, other clubs might have had better household names than us, like, you know, Man United and the bigger clubs. But, you know, we still had Piercy, we had Norman Go, we had Stan Collymore, we were adding to the, you know, Scotty in midfield, Scotty Gemmell, Stoney and Woney on the wing, you know what I mean? And you were going to, you know, you were going to these places like Old Trafford and beating them. I think we beat 2-1 that season, I think.
Yeah.
I think Piercy scored and Stan scored, I think, if I remember back. And it was just that. It was just that. We finished third, and we did put a great run together again. You know, you'll probably tell me the actual stats. We put a great run together, unbeaten run together. And it was literally midweek or Saturday, whenever, going out, knowing that you wasn't going to get beat. It was a weird feeling.
There were so many great games.
What was it like, Desi, having Stan up front, having somebody in your side that you know can turn that can turn a game like that?
Well,
he was phenomenal that season.
Oh, mate, yeah, he's a phenomenal player, wasn't he? Like, you know what I mean? He's probably the best striker. Obviously, I played. People say he's the best player. You know, people said, oh, Stan should have had 100 caps for England. It should have been Stan Collymore and one other at the time for years. You know, it should have been like, there was no better striker than Stan. You know, he had, you know, he was strong as an ox. You know, he could shift. He had you know, he could head the ball. He had a right foot, left foot. You know, I remember he used to rip teams apart. Not so much on his own because the ball's got to get to him. But if you got the ball to Stan, you know what I mean? You know, I remember going to old Bolton, Brunton Park. It was a BBC game at the time, I think, or Sky game. I think we won. He scored a hat-trick. He scored left foot, right foot, and a header, and he ripped them apart. Again, I don't like saying his own because obviously it's a team game. But literally, when he got the ball to him, he just tore defences apart. Like, you know what I mean? And like you say, Mac had to get the ball, knowing that you could get the ball to Stan. Like, you know what I mean? And the ball didn't have to be perfect to Stan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not like when it had to be Pierre. You know, if it's a yard away from you know, Macca was on about me ripping him, but Pierre used to rip me if it was like 2 yards from his left foot or right foot.
What would he say to you?
Oh, man, he'd just stand there and put his arms out. And give him some F and Jeff. You know what I mean?
I remember that great ball you put in for Collymore against QPR at home, where it's a powerful header. I mean, it travels so far and it lands perfectly for him, and then he manages to dink it in off the post.
Yeah, but that's some stand-up. Like, you could just put the ball in the area. You know what I mean? If you were dropping it, you know, Mac will know what to dropping it down the channel. You know, that safe zone down the channel where strikers run onto it. You knew, and you know, he could give defenders 3 or 4 yards, and he'd still beat them to it. So it was a great outlet to play with Stan, a great outlet, because if we couldn't play short and play through the thirds, we knew we could just go a little bit longer And you know, we could get standing that way. And you know, he's, like I say, he should have had 100+ caps, mate. He was unbelievable.
The following season, we get to the quarterfinals of the UEFA Cup. Obviously, the most amazing moment in that whole journey was the goal against Leon, scored by Paul McGregor.
Nice one, mate.
The second
You're still living on that one, Macca.
You are? No, I don't really like to talk about it, Des.
Yeah, right.
Do you remember that goal, Des? Do you remember seeing it going at the time?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do remember seeing it going at the time. Yeah, I do.
What an amazing night! I mean, the Bayern Munich game. Did you manage to? Did you swap your shirts with anyone?
I don't keep all my shirts up the loft. I think I have got a Bayern Munich one up there. I can't remember who it was from. I didn't swap many shirts. I know I swapped them with all the other rounds. I can't remember my German one is from. But I know I have got a Bayern Munich shirt up there, and a Malmo and a Borgs there, and a Leon one.
Wow.
But I can't remember, actually. And like I said, I don't really go back looking at my stuff. It wasn't, I think, it might have been one of the subs, I think. Because I was on the bench at the away one, but the home game, I can't remember who I swapped shirts with.
You were on the bench on the away game?
I was, mate, yeah. No, the away game, yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Who played?
I don't know. Dave Phillips played. Dave Phillips, and I was absolutely. That was one of my. You talk about times and memorable times. That's another memorable time for me. That game, because obviously we'd flown over there, trained. It's the day of the game. We trained in the morning. Then we were going back to bed in the afternoon, and we trained. I can't remember if we'd done any shape or anything like that, but we trained. And I remember Frank Clark saying before we went up to bed, "Can I see you?" To end up seeing him. I was rooming with Jay Lee at the time. Everybody had toddled up and had a little chat, at the dinner table along with the other coach. He said he's leaving me out this game. He's playing Dave Phillips, and that's the only time I really probably questioned Frank. You know what I mean? In terms of I asked him why, and blah blah. And he's come up with his points. He thinks Dave might do this, might do that a little bit better than me. And I just remember going back up the stairs, and I remember going into the bedroom, and I put this hole through this wardrobe through my foot.
Oh, mate.
That's Jay Lee. If you ever get Jay Lee, I kicked out of this wardrobe with anger. I did. I kicked out this wardrobe, knowing that I wasn't found. I was absolutely devastated. Absolutely devastated, you know what I mean?
You would be.
Your quarterfinals of the European Cup, Bayern Munich, 60-odd, 70-odd thousand, and you've just been told you're not playing. I was absolutely devastated. You know what I mean?
Dave Phillips puts the ball for Steve Chettle to score.
He does, mate. Yeah, I remember. Mate, you taking a mickey out of me? I do remember.
Well, I just wondered if at that point you thought, oh well, maybe Clarkey sort of saw it coming.
No, mate. But listen, mate, we had about 6 hats on. And a couple of blankets and loads of gloves on, sitting on the bench watching that, mate. Remember, it was absolutely
how cold was that?
It was Baltic, wasn't it, mate?
Oh,
Baltic.
My God.
It was Baltic, mate. But remember the goal, mate. But like I said, that's probably the most disappointed I've ever been. The most memorable time as well. You talk about memorable games. The whole of that European run, along like Macca said, Macca got his goal, We bloody got battered in all games, Macca. I remember.
We did, mate, yeah.
All games. We won them all 1-0 by the Bayern Munich game, didn't we? You know what I mean? I remember, we just dug in. Even the one at Malmo, we scored. And we just dug a trench and just sat in this bloody trench and just defended, didn't we?
Yeah.
It worked,
I've never seen a performance like it in my life.
I know, mate, yeah. I remember the Orgs there one was the most memorable. Obviously, played one up front at the time, and that was unheard of, wasn't it? Though, even in those days, playing one striker, Jay Lee had to battle up there on his own, and it was just balls up to Jay Lee. Can he get hold of it? Can we get up the field and join him?
There's not many better suited to that role, though, to be fair.
Say again, pal.
There's not many better suited to that role than Jay, to be
fair.
Nah,
mate, exactly. Again, someone like Jay, good work ethic, didn't he? Never moaned about it, just got on with it, you know what I mean? Probably just happy to be there, like a lot of us have been thinking, bloody hell, we are playing in the European Cup here, because Jay came from the lower leagues and, he's got that good work ethic about himself, so.
yeah, I just remember the games. We had to really dig in, didn't we, all the games, and managed to win them.
The possession of the Auxerre game must have been 80, 85, 15 or something.
Yeah, it was disgusting, mate. It was horrible, wasn't it? It was. Seriously. I can just remember just defending, just constantly defending.
Yeah.
You know
and feeling under pressure
defending.
or feeling comfortable with it?
Oh, no. It was...
Yeah, go on, mate. Hey?
It was tense, mate, the whole game.
Tense, yeah, tense. You know what I mean? Tense, because, you know, whatever you... And all footballers will tell you, 1-0's never a great score, is it? Because especially the way we attempted to play those rounds as well. You know what I mean? It was almost with, you know, you're calling teams onto you to kind of catch them on a counter or to us to nick a goal like we did and to defend and go that way. Whereas, listen, if they were to equalise at any stage of the game, I'm not too sure we would have had the, you know, not so much technical ability to get back in the game, but would we have had that, you know what I mean, that understanding to get back into the game after playing like that for so long? You know, we would probably have opened ourselves out and end up losing 4 or 5 bloody sits. You know what I mean? To try and chase the game, yeah.
So you've got a couple of Bayern Munich, well, you got some Bayern Munich, you know, Bayern Munich and Auxerre, Malmo and a Lyon shirt. Have you kept any of your Forest shirts?
Yeah, I've got a few. I've got a few in some frames. I'll give a few away.
Brilliant.
You know what I mean? I'll give a few away. I haven't got them up around the house. I don't have stuff up around the house.
Oh, you've got to put them up, Des.
Nah, mate, I never do, mate. The memories in my head, mate. I've got the memories. I
know, but they look great. It's about decoration, isn't it?
No, it's not. Matt, imagine going around someone's house.
Yeah.
I would certainly think less of somebody if you go around someone's house.
Is that a shirt up?
A big shrine to themselves.
Oh, Forest. It's different if it's Forest, isn't it?
No. Mate, listen, I've got them in my head. You know, I've got 2 in the frame that no one will ever have. I've got that, you know what I mean? My first couple of years, we had 2 sponsors, was it? Yeah. Shipston and
Labatt's.
Labatt's, wasn't it? And we've got those 2. Them 2 are in the frame, like I mean.
Oh.
Like I said, I'll give a couple away, like you do. You sign some, don't you? And give things away a bit, like. But yeah,
I'll buy if you're looking to sell, mate. Honestly, these are like this is like the Holy Grail.
Holy Grail, mate.
It's been touched by gods.
Oh dear.
Oh, I would absolutely. I mean, there's so many people listening to this that would just love to see Des Lyttle's match-worn Forest shirts. I know it sounds mad to you. It's so weird. Every player thinks this is strange. Every fan understands what I'm on about.
No, it's strange. It's strange. It's strange. Say again, pal.
He always asks this question, you know, where are your shirts? And 95% of the time, it's in the loft in a bin bag.
It is.
Parents' house.
100%. Yeah, in a massive sports bag, along with, you know, just other shirts and medals and scrapbooks, cuttings and that. You know what I mean? So
it's good that you kept them. It's good that you kept them. You've got to keep them.
Yeah, 100%. You've got to keep 100%, mate, because it's something you can always look back on and never forget. And like I said, it's just to have pleasure to have played. You know what I mean? You know.
I know fans obsess about kits and what their favourite kit is and the design. Do you have a favourite Forest kit that you wore? Was there one that stood out as particularly fashionable?
Not that bloody yellow one, Macca, was it?
That's my favourite one.
What year was that again? What was that?
That was like 95, 96, yeah.
95, 96, yeah, that was a shocker, wasn't it?
It's such a trendy kit, isn't it? Can you remember them bringing them in, mate? And us all going, what?
Yeah. I know. Absolute shocking, mate. You know what I mean? It's bad. And then kits were massive as well in those days, weren't they? You look back now, you know, you see some of your, you know, you might catch a glimpse of yourself on these Premier League years and that. Yeah. And you just look massive, don't you? I look about like I was about 30 stone or something. Got about 6 people in one kit. It's massive. You get them down, seriously. I got down a few months ago, showing my lad. My lad's like 22. He still wants to see him sometime. Got it there, mate. It's like a bloody tent. They're massive. They aren't they? They're absolutely massive. And some of the shorts, Jesus.
Yeah, that suits a fat lad like me. The skin tight ones are the worst. Mate,
Jesus. I mean, they're absolutely luge, they are. But yeah, my favourite one is probably, like I say, the two, the Bats and the Shipston. with the white stripe there, and the legendary shirts then, weren't they?
Yeah.
You know, with the thin white stripe there. And
that blue away one was quite nice. The blue away.
Yeah, it was actually. Yeah.
With the turquoise trim.
Nice turquoise.
Did we do that in green as well?
Can't remember, mate. Did we? I've not got one. If we have,
third kit.
There was a weird green third kit, that had like a zigzag across the front.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. It was only used once in a pre-season game against Lincoln United,
Good nose, that. Good nose.
Yeah, I'm the sort of sad git who Googles these socks for this. I'm the sort of bloke who's trying to buy your shirts and get them framed on the wall. I can't believe you didn't like that yellow kit, because I've got it as the phone case for my mobile.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, there it is.
I love it.
Looks better than when we was wearing it, though. That does.
Maybe that's down to us, mate.
It looks a lot slimmer.
When you're showing your son your shirts, how does he react when he sees them?
Not so bad. He's moved out now, but I mean, when he was a little bit younger, he used to want to put them on and used to say, "Can you get your shirts down, Dad?" Like, I mean, he managed to be a pro for Bristol Rovers for a couple of seasons, so he knows what it felt like, a little bit like. He loves all looking at that memorabilia stuff, and going back, like, you know, it's nice to show him as well, like, you know what I mean. But
what car did you have at the time, Des?
Bloody hell, we had cars from Sytner, BMs. We had BMs.
Oh, nice.
I did.
Hey?
I bloody didn't.
You young Macca, you come up through the ranks, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Us big stars, mate. We had 3 cars, mate. We did. Now, we had like sponsored cars from Sytner. So that was another thing. Like, when I signed, and then when I come back from bloody Italy, there was these 3 cars. You had to test bloody drive and choose which cars you want, Mike. You had a certain amount of money. Yeah. So I thought my first BM I had from Sytner through the club. I don't think you remember, all the lads had BMs. Like, it was a 3 Series. It was a 3 Series. Then I had another one from Sytner. It was a 3 Series soft top. Then I had a 5 Series. So I had about 4 or 5 BMs from Sytner in my kind of 6 years from there. You know what I mean? And then just
on the side and all that. I can't remember.
Nah, mate. No names. No names on the side, mate. We had no names. Just said, no names. You know what I mean? So the BMs flying everywhere, mate. And no, seriously, I remember nearly crashing one. I remember because I was in the hotel, obviously, and like I say, things were moving that quick. And then somebody rang up saying, "Oh, Sytner, we're bringing a couple of BMs round here." I'm like, "You what?" And I didn't know the streets of Nottingham. I know streets are streets. You know what I mean? But I didn't know this. So he said, "Right, first sit in this car. You can come and test drive." So I'm going Nottingham. It's like being on my test. It's like being on my drive around Nottingham. I'm thinking, what the hell is this? I'm driving this like 20 grand BM around Nottingham. I mean, thinking, you know, they're going to give me this. Well, is that all right for you, Des? And that, yeah, which one do you want? Oh, okay, I'll have that one. And it was just simple as that, like, you know what I mean? It was like I say, unbelievable times.
Take it now, right?
Hey?
Take it now.
Yeah, wrong, mate.
So what other perks did you get? Did you get a Ciro Sotirio suit?
Yeah.
Ciro Sotirio suit? Do you remember that, Macca?
Yeah, man.
Did we get a suit? And we had about 200 quid to spend or something.
Yeah, they gave us 200 quid to spend and a suit. Yeah, Cheerio, we used to call it, didn't we?
That's right, yeah. Cheerio, mate. Suit. And I remember buying some rascal jumpers, like, and this belt. The thickest belt I remember buying, mate. It was this brown belt I had there. Like, I think, how much I've got left to spend? I got about 20 quid. I'll buy this belt. just to spend it. Never worn on it again, I don't think.
By the way, you sorted out all the Paul Smith instead of Cheerio.
That's right, the Paul Smith days and all, yeah. And Paul Smith nights as well, weren't they? Used to be in there and getting tried on for your suit in there. Good times then, mate.
Free Paul Smith clobber.
Yeah, man.
Free? Yeah.
Wow.
Free gear, innit? Because it was that European suit, wasn't it, Mac? Was that the...
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Have you still got that?
We had to go and eat. Nah. Not long gone. It probably went about... I'll give that to charity. I cut the name out because we had little tags in the pockets, didn't we, with your name in?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
That is so cool.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what I say, not long gone. They're probably gone about 10 years ago now, like, you know what I mean? And I was clearing out some stuff. But maybe I had to cut the nail. I'll give it away to some charity shop. But yeah, they were. Paul Smith was a great suit that was as well at the time.
Yeah.
And did you have
lovely tie as well? It's a good tie.
Did you have a McDonald's black card?
We opened up some McDonald's, didn't we? It's a gold card, wasn't it?
Gold card, that's it.
It was the black card. It was a McDonald's black card for the one that opened right next to us, and they took it away from us after about a month because we destroyed it.
Yeah. I remember having some card. Yeah. I remember I opened up a Booker's as well. You know, the cash and carry.
What?
I remember, I opened up a Booker's and they give me, I can't remember what the perks. Give me some money for opening up, and they give me a card for free food for the bloody year or something. Ridiculous.
Wow.
I never used to go, hardly. You know what I mean? It's crazy. So I mean, you used to get little perks, didn't you? It was nothing major, like, you know what I mean? But little at the time it was good. Like, looking back, you think,
the best perk, Desi, was walking to the front of a queue in any nightclub. That was the best perk.
Oh, that was the best perk, not having to queue up, mate. You're right. You know what I mean? And getting a PlayStation as well, mate. Do you get a PlayStation?
Yeah.
Yeah, get a PlayStation when obviously the Premier League and that, didn't we?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, so.
And are you aware that there's a bus in Nottingham named after you?
After who?
After Des Lyttle.
Get lost. You take.
No. I saw it in Market Square maybe about 4 years ago. It's a red double-decker.
Right.
It says Des Lyttle, but it's not a Trent Barton and it's not a Nottingham City Transport. But there is a bus in Nottingham with your name on the front. People listening to this will know what I'm on about. I presumed maybe you knew.
I have
no, mate? Nah.
You know what?
I wouldn't have a clue.
I'm going to Google it now, and I bet you it comes up.
It's got my name on the side and that.
On the front of the bus, in big white letters, Des Lyttle, in like chunky letters. I'm swear to God.
You're taking it.
No, I'm not. There'll be people listening to this saying it's true. I've seen it. Genuinely, I'm not on a wind up.
Dear.
But I haven't seen any named after any other players. People have to get in touch with this. Oh, I can't find it. Genuinely, it's out there. I've got a photo of it on an old laptop somewhere. We had an email off one of our listeners called Mike Des, and he says, does Des remember the game against Chelsea in January 97 when he man-marked Gianfranco Zola and we won 2-0? I remember after the game, Stuart Pearce being asked on Radio Nottingham if he'd come out and speak to the reporters, and Psycho replied, you were still following Zola around the players' lounge.
I remember that. I do remember that. I think because the reason I remember it, because one, it was the first time I was probably asked to do that, but I think I've done it 3 times that season. I've done it with Zola, Steve McManaman, and then remember Jorginho for Middlesbrough.
Borough, yeah.
I've done it there at the Riverside, but I do remember that one against Zola, mate. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I don't think I touched the ball. I didn't touch the ball much in a game of football anyway before Macassays. But I definitely, by just tackling him, I didn't touch the ball many times in that game. Like when we were in possession, you know what I mean? I literally couldn't move. I remember Pearce said I couldn't move from him. Don't offer yourself when you're in possession. I did 1 or 2 times because obviously you did have to offer yourself. But I remember him saying, "Don't make yourself available." You know, when we're in possession of the ball, because if it breaks down and he's in space, you know, he wanted me no more than 3 or 4 yards away from him. You know what I mean?
Who was saying that? As he's shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, so it was a tactic, I think. To obviously it was a tactic, and then we end up working like. But I remember not touching the ball many times in that game, and I remember I've done the same with Steve McManaman. And he wasn't too happy, and I remember he was effing and jeffing at me in his Scouse accent and offering me his shirt at the end. You know what I mean? Because I was that close to him. He said, "Yeah, you can have it now." He said. You know what I mean?
Have you still got that?
I haven't got. No, he didn't. He didn't
right.
mean it like that. I mean, you were that close. You might as well have my shirt now. Like,
the footballers joke that, man. Come on.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, but I mean, people do swap shirts.
They do, yes, we didn't. Yeah. So yeah, I do remember that game. Yeah. It was
Johnny Heald got in touch. He said, Des was one of my favourite Forest players growing up, and to my delight, I received the Corinthian Forest team for Christmas in 1995. I didn't realise at the time, but Super Des wasn't part of the team that was made. Instead, I devastatingly unwrapped Silenzi on that fateful Christmas morning. How gutted was Des Lyttle not to be immortalised as a big head figure?
I didn't know that actually. Sorry, have I not got a big head figure?
Well, maybe Johnny Heel just didn't get it. Do you remember seeing one at the time?
No, I can't remember. I'm devastated.
I can't believe I'm the one who's broken it to you nearly 30 years later.
I ain't going to be able to sleep tonight, mate. But have you got one, Macca?
I haven't, mate. Broken.
Devastated.
Scotty Gemmell got one. He was getting one. I was broken. I'm going to look it up now.
Try and find it. Stuart Briggs asked us something, Des. He says, did Des practice the break dance before celebrating against Tottenham in the FA Cup after penalties?
That was at White Hart Lane, that was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember. I was a break dancer. Yeah, I used to break dance anyway. No, seriously.
What, properly?
You're joking, aren't you?
Well, I wasn't sure,
Yeah, seriously.
Can you still do it?
Yeah, I can't get my legs as wide to do the windmill no more because obviously my groins are a lot stiffer. But I do pop it out now and again to people that want to see it, like, you know what I mean?
What's your move? What's your go-to move, Desi?
In the crew, I used to be in a little crew. I used to be in a crew as a kid.
That is so cool.
We used to go around the youth clubs. We used to battle with different youth clubs. You know what I mean? So we used to go around with our Lilo and that and drop it on the floor and bust some moves and that. Like, so my move was the windmill, the no-handed windmill it was.
And that, what does that look like?
I know what you mean, yeah.
Sounds
what
rude.
Does it look like? No, seriously. So you just kind of, you start
swinging around.
You swing round and then you start on your back and your shoulders and then you just pick up momentum and you obviously your legs are at, as wide as you can. And then you use your hands to start off to get some momentum and then you leave your arms out of it and you're just doing it on your back, your top of your back and your shoulders. You're going to have to just watch Beat Street.
Yeah.
Watch Beat Street. You'll watch one of the classic movies.
What's your crew called?
What was that crew called? My name was Cruz. I can't remember what our crew was called. Was it the B-Boys or something? I think it was B-Boys or something. My name in the crew was Cruz.
Love it.
Yeah, man. And the days. My days as a nipper, man. So it was all about the breakdancing and football back in the day.
So now when you're teaching, I mean, it must be insane for these kids to be taught by Des Lyttle. Do they ever say, "Sir, is it true you played for Forest"?
They say that. Yeah, they do. They say that. Obviously, a lot of them are young. When we're dealing with the younger ones, obviously the BTEC sixth form boys know a little bit more because they're kind of, 17, 18, and when they leave us, they're coming up to be 19. But even they don't, obviously heard about it, but they've got to look over the old archives. And it's funny enough because some of the BTEC work that's used, there's this picture that some of the teachers use of me squaring up with Eric Cantona.
Yes, that's a brilliant photo in that blew away kit. Yeah.
So, so when some of the kids have to do some of the BTEC work, they might have to do a task on something, and this one will pop up and they'll, you played against Eric Cantona. What's he saying? What's he saying to you there? I don't know, something in French. These are like that. They're like, was you scared? I was scared of what? I'm scared. I'm scared. The only person I'm scared of is somebody with a gun. I said, I'm from bloody Lowell, Wolverhampton.
Oh, Des, this has been such an amazing pleasure.
Oh, dear, that's been my pleasure, man.
I can't thank you enough for doing it. I can't wait for people to listen to this. This has just been so much fun.
Well, it's a shame that I know Mac has obviously asked me for months to come down. It's a shame, but listen, next time I'd love to come down and do it. Great. And obviously, circumstances. At least we've got it in, haven't we? Yeah. Everybody stays safe and all that, and we get over this. Get back to some normality, hopefully. But it's been a pleasure. It's always been great, especially, and I'll say it. I ain't just saying it. Anything to do with Forest. 6 years there. you know, to have played with some of the players, to still have some friends I've still got, you know, to have just sampled those times at Notts, like, you know, anything to do with Nottingham, I'm always there to come back and help when I can, like, you know.
That's so cool. And we'll get you back. We'll meet up. Yeah. We'll go to the pub afterwards. You can tell us the Alan Rogers stories that you weren't allowed to tell us here. And we're going to find a picture of that bus.
Find a picture of that bus?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Internet
People
campaign.
will know. Cheers, Des. Well, there you go, Des Lyttle. I just didn't want it to, I mean, I never want it to end, obviously, because I'm talking to gods about playing for Forest. But, oh, man, there are some people we meet in life who just make you feel warm and happy. And it was the same with Guy Moussi. Some people just have like a radiance, and he's just so... Des Lyttle's, he's the man we need in these times.
He's just one of those people that will always do well. You know, he's just a lovely, lovely fella. And like I said earlier, you know, extremely talented footballer, but what a top guy.
It was brilliant. We're going to try and do one of these a week throughout the lockdown. So email us, rrd1865@outlook.com. Maybe you're a former player listening to this who we haven't been able to get in touch with. Drop us a line if you'd like to do it. If you know an ex-Forest player and you can help us get them on, then drop us a line. Tweet us at rrd1865. Someone's got to have a picture or at least a recollection of that Des Lyttle bus. It exists. I know it does. I had a photo of it on an old laptop. People have got to find it and let me know and back me up and leave an iTunes review. Thank you to all of those of you that have done it, but it helps other Forest fans find it. So thank you very much.
That's very kind.
Until next time,